storms passed off a little bit. I think we should be in good shape. We might get a few hours in here. So we're going to slip out and see what we can come up with. A little crappie fishing, maybe some bass, maybe some catfish. We'll see. Come on along and we'll see just what we get into. I want to take a second here and just kind of remind you, there's only so many folks left. Remember, the younger generation is never going to know the joy of smelling two-stroke exhaust and hearing the purr of a two-stroke motor. Listen to that, would you? A fine vintage Evinrude Johnson motor. Listen to that. That's just music to the ears. I think it's sad that's going away. So do what you can to introduce somebody to the finer things in life, like the purr of a Johnson Evinrude motor. All right, folks. We are out here, kind of the same old song and dance. The weather does not look good. I got out here and it's looking like I have a window tonight and probably not tomorrow in the weather. So I came out here and it's really not looking real promising right now. I think we're going to get a quick storm roll over. As long as I don't have to run for it with a thunderstorm or something, we'll be okay for a little bit. So I may just set up here real close in a couple of spots that are fairly familiar and see if I can catch a few. And then what I'm kind of hoping is that the bait situation picks up towards the evening. There's already a lot of bait around that I can see, and if that starts to school towards the evening, we might end up with some school and largemouth, or maybe even some school and some stripers. It's getting to be about the time of year where you might see some little ones schooling up and chasing bait around. So if that happens, I'm going to try to catch some bait and do a little bit of mixed bag fishing. I've already got a little bit. I threw the cast net a few times and I came up with a few small threadfin shad. And I kind of prefer fishing smaller ones because you can get into a lot more stuff, and usually I end up catching a few catfish or a few school and largemouth. And then when you get a couple of schools of stripers come through, then it really gets fun. So we're just going to start off here close and hit 2 or 3 spots and see if we can put a few crappie in the boat, and then we'll see what the weather does for us. Yeah, there's still crappie here. It looks like a couple of pretty good schools of them, and there's some decent bait in here too. So we're into some summertime crappie, looks like. It's not a bad fish there. Not a giant, but like I say, we'll throw them in here. Yeah, we're into another fish here. They're right down near the bottom, and they're not, I can already tell they're not going to be terribly aggressive. So when they get like this, the water's hot. It's like 86 degrees. And when they get like this, you really just have to take time, fish slow. You don't have to do anything crazy, but you got to be a little more patient. They're not deep. They've pulled a lot of water here, and it's a little bit low between the heat and whatever they pulled. So they're only in about 8 feet of water, the ones that I've caught so far. So we'll see if we get into a few that have a little bit better size to them, and if not, I'll go a little bit deeper. But again, I just want to wait and see what the weather does here. I hate getting too far down the river and then having to turn around. Yeah, they are slow tonight. Slow to hit for sure. That's a little guy. We're gonna throw him back. I want to say here before I get too far, thank you if you're a subscriber. Boy, I just did not expect that
people would be all that interested in the kind of fishing that I do. My first video had a whole lot of views, which led to more people being able to see the second and third one. And I don't do anything real exciting. I'll be the first one to tell you that. But I sure do appreciate all of you that have subscribed, and if you haven't, do me a favor and hit the subscribe if this is something you like or enjoy. If there's something you want to see, by all means, ask. I'm always up for trying something. And if you're talking about hunting and fishing, I'm definitely down. So, oh, what have we got here? This one's a little better. I don't know what it is. This may not be a crappie. Oh, it is a crappie. It's just a better one than I've been catching tonight. How about a little boat flip here? He's not as good as I thought, but when you're catching little guys, they all feel good, I guess. It's a nice fish. They're all nice. It's been a couple weeks since I've really been able to do any fishing. I went out last week with the intention, on my day off, I went out with the intention of going all the way down to the dam and fishing the bottom end of the lake. I wanted to fish for some stripers. And I'm going to be honest with you folks, every time I go down there I say the same thing. That was a waste of time. I do not like that end of the lake in tourist season. The boat traffic is so bad. In a little boat like mine, I hate fishing like that. I hate having to deal with traffic. I hate boat wake, and you can't get away from it down there. And it's just no fun to me. So, man, I'll come up here if I gotta fish the same 2 or 3 spots and just catch crappie or bluegills or anything. I don't care. I just hate I hate dealing with people, and this is so nice. It's just quiet out here. You can come out and it feels like you got the lake to yourself. So I apologize if this just looks like same old to you, but that's what we're going to do because this is way more relaxing to me. And moved around a little bit, hit 3 or 4 other spots, and I'm in another spot now. This is just a little bit deeper, 12 foot deep, something like that. That's a pretty good fish there. I think we'll fish a little bit deeper here. There's one. That didn't take too long. He's a little guy. I think we'll fish a little bit deeper here, and maybe try to get on a few crappie until I can kind of figure out what the shad situation is. Water is warm. It's 85 degrees, so fish are a little slow. I expect I'm probably going to have to talk them into it a little bit here, but we'll just fish slow and see what all happens. There's one. Another little one, I think. Boy, they just give out when you hook them, because they're just really slow moving and in deep water. And kind of like me, without plenty of hydration and cooler temperatures, working out in the sun. After a while, you just get to a point where enough's enough. One other thing, and I think I might have mentioned this before if you've seen any of my other videos, but one thing to keep an eye on, this brush pile we're sitting on right now is a big treetop, and it was here for several years, and it was really good. It's nice because it's in 15 feet of water or something like that, so it's a little bit deeper than some of the other brush piles that I fish, but again, I'm in the channel like I told you, and one thing in a river system in a channel like this is when the water comes up and you get a little flooding, it'll push things right down the channel. And this whole brush pile got busted up in one of the last big storms that we had. So it pays to always be scouting around. Don't just go to the same couple of brush piles. Always be scouting around, and also keep in mind anything that's fresh fallen. I find anyway that a lot of the fresh fallen brush piles, you know, if a tree slides down the bank and that treetop sets in the water, I don't find that they're very much good until they start to break down a little bit. The leaves come off them and stuff like that. And once that's happened, I find a lot more fish on them. But you always want to mark some of those fresh fallen ones and mark them as a place to come back to, you know, 6 months or a year down the road, because you want to keep a fresh inventory of spots if you fish in a system like this that changes. Out here and try to throw out a few shad for a minute. I don't know if I explained this before or not, but in this part of the river, I know you could go back in the coves and try to find shad and all that kind of stuff, but I throw at them in open water out here because it's a bit of a mud flat, and I don't like to take the time to make a run to the coves. There's enough of them out here that sooner or later you get into a few. The thing is finding the size that you need to not go through your net, and I think that I'm starting to find a few that are big enough. I get a lot of little ones this time of year. Yeah, there's a few. These aren't giants, but they'll work fine for what I want to do. All right, folks, I'm going to show you my kind of preferred live bait setup here. I'm fishing with a about 2-inch shad here. Now I hook them through the nose, and I use a Phil Pro. Sorry, try not to run into the bank here. I use a Phil Pro float, slip float, and I use the little football, these guys here, if you can see it, little plastic football stopper. I order them on eBay from China because they're a lot cheaper than buying them at a sporting goods store or Walmart or anything like that. And then I use a 16th ounce split shot underneath them. I like to fish light. You all know that by now. And I don't like a lot of weight on stuff, so this setup works good for me. If you get shad, much bigger than that, I cast off my first one. That's good. If you get shad much bigger than that, you need a little bit bigger float. This is the small size. And I also have the mediums. Those are my favorite, and they're hard to find. I don't know what happened, but I don't know if Phil quit making these, or I can't imagine that, but they were pretty popular, but they've been really hard for me to find. So when I find a good number of them, I kind of stock up on them. They're kind of expensive too. I don't know what they are, $3 bucks. Probably $2-3 a piece, as opposed to there's a lot of other cheaper ones out there, the Mr. Crappie floats or whatever, but I just like these. They've got a brass ferrule in the end of them, so the line slides real easy through them. They're very sensitive, and if you get a fish that's a little shy about pulling on something, they don't put a lot of resistance into the mix, so fish seem to not care about them at all. I've had some of the different kinds of floats that are a little bit little bit stiffer resistance, I've had fish turn them loose right after they pull on them. I don't get that very often with these. I don't know if that's the float or maybe it's my imagination, but I like them, so you should give them a shot. They'll pro. Folks, I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say there is not a largemouth under that tree, because I threw at it 15 or 20 times, every conceivable spot. If there is one there, he ain't getting caught today. You throw a pretty little shad like this right in front of them and they don't go for it, they're not there. That's my thinking anyway. I would have eaten it. Here, there's one. Oh, what do we got here, folks? I think it's a big largemouth. Oh no, it's a channel cat. See, it happens just that quick when you're live bait fishing. I switched over to some live shad. They're little ones, maybe 2.5 inches, something like that. Nice, nice size for live bait. But turn this other camera on here. The nice thing about fishing shad, and especially that size of shad, is you can get all sorts of stuff. That's a little bitty channel cat. We'll throw him back. If they get a little bigger than that, I'll keep them and fry them. There's nothing wrong with a channel cat. But what I was gonna say, good grief. Boy, he got a tough little jaw. When you get to fishing small shad like that, one of the things with them is I like to fish them on those Thill Pro floats I was showing you earlier. It's my favorite. And part of the reason I really like them so well, the shad can actually take the float down, which you wouldn't think is a good thing, but that's how sensitive they are. It's telling you that they're not pulling hard against something that they can't move, and the shad stay alive a little bit longer. Plus the float's sensitive enough that as soon as something sucks down that shad, you know, they won't feel that float. That's one of the things I really like about them. I'm in about 12 feet of water here, but it drops off into about 20. Nice riprap on the bank, and there's a few sunk trees in here too. There always seems to be some largemouths hanging around here, and nice spot for a channel cat or two also. So we are officially into the mixed bag fishing now. If you're fishing with live shad, or any live bait for that matter, change out your bait as soon as they quit being good and active. You know, I know guys fish cut bait and dead bait for catfish and all that kind of stuff, but if you can get them live, your success rate is way better. Lots of bait in the mouth of this creek here. I'm actually starting to see a few popping on the surface too, so that's probably a good sign for the evening. That was a pretty good ball of them there, but I did not make a good throw. It was one of those quick ones when I saw them swinging by. Looks like there's plenty of them down in here. Shouldn't be a problem. Shouldn't, but sometimes things that shouldn't be a problem are. Two seasons ago, I came back in here, and every time I came back in, I caught stacks of crappie. I mean, piles of them. It's one of those places where you'd limit out on a single brush pile if you wanted to. But this season, I'm not sure I caught a single one in here. And it wasn't from overfishing or anything like that. It was it was one of those things where the brush piles just sort of started to decay to the point where they were no longer holding a lot of fish. Here comes your train. We'll watch it from underneath. I cannot tell you what it is about a train that I love so much. Maybe it's all the cowboy movies I watched, or country songs I listened to, or I don't know. But they're just cool. Oh, nuts. There's a big one. I don't know what he is, but he's big. Oh no, I broke him off. I tried to pull him around that darn log he was on, and I think I wrapped around the log. Doggone it, that was a big one. I think it was a largemouth. I've got a bit of an abnormal situation going on right now. I gave away all the crappie that I'd caught earlier. There was a family out here in a boat. There's one. Oh, that's a big one. I'll bet that's a flathead there. I will bet that's a flathead. I might be surprised about this, but I think it's a flathead the way he took it. I'm going to try to get him out to the center of the channel here. I think it's a flathead. Those flatheads go straight down with it and just sit there and pull. They're not making big runs or any of that. They just pull, and they pull hard. But this one's on 4-pound test, so he's not too far down there. He's not a huge one, but they just got a lot of power to him. Yeah, I just saw him. That's a flathead. Not a real big one. Maybe 4 or 5 pounds. Probably not even that. That's the thing with this live bait fishing. You can get into darn near anything. See him down there. He's starting to come up, but I don't think he's quite done yet. So we'll take our time with him. The thing about a flathead is it's impossible to kill them, so they just revive real easy. Yeah, that's not a very big one. Probably 3 pounds, something like that. He's a little guy. He's pretty though, look at him. He's got a nice orange color to him. Yeah, little guy. Let's let him go, as Richard Gere would say. That was fun. Let's try that again. All right, we got a few. There. Let's go see. Let's go see what wants to eat. We're in 12 foot of water right now, and it'll come up to about 6. But again, this is that point right on the where you're right on the break line of the channel. So we should see if some surface action starts around the flat here. We're going to see it this evening and be there to get on them. There we go. That'd be a crappie. He's an alright crappie. That's a really nice crappie. I don't think I'm going to keep him tonight. I think I'm going to turn him loose. That's a good one, though. That's a really good one. All right, folks. Well, I have enjoyed it immensely. Did a good bit of fishing. Caught some fish. Missed a few fish. Wasn't, I don't know if it's ever as good as you hope. I ain't gonna say it was bad at all. I had a good time. So thanks for coming along with me. We'll do this again here sometime real soon. Got some more content coming out shortly that I'm working on. In the meantime, we'll just keep kind of plugging away at what we've been doing, and I hope you enjoy it. Hey, if you know about this stuff and you enjoy the outdoors and you enjoy fishing, find somebody that's never been before, take them with you and teach them a little bit about it. It's just too much fun doing stuff like this to keep all to yourself. And like I always say, the world needs more good, clean fun out there. And this is a perfect example of good, clean fun. So teach somebody a little bit about it, take them with you, and enjoy the outdoors together. Thanks for coming along with me, and we'll see you next time.